Let's play some hockey tonight.
You are watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen. I'm Gary Goulet. It's being brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated.
And Paramount Sports Management, where hopefully, you never know, Gooch could be there in the next couple of weeks. Anything's possible.
You got it. Hey, listen, a great night in sports. Of course, we have Cujo coming up, number 31, with your Toronto Maple Leafs. But first, let's talk a little bit. There he is. Still looks fit. Let's talk about the games last night. Obviously, there were some pretty cool scores again. I hear that maybe you got one right.
Yeah, I think I got Vancouver again. They beat them 7-1. They beat them 5-1. And then last night for 3 times to beat them 3 times in a matter of like 5 days, 4-1. I think Vancouver's on the rise, and I think the Ottawa Senators are falling fast.
Well, I'll tell you what's really good is that the Maple Leafs won 4-3. That was a great game.
That was
watching it. Our buddies, Detroit Red Wings, took a little bit of a beat up.
Well,
7-4.
Yeah, listen, it's Detroit. I think Detroit and Chicago are going to battle for the basement, but I think they'll be good in a couple of years. You know, we don't
What
have
about Pavelski? That kid's on fire.
Joe Pavelski's a hell of a player.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
All right, going around the league, I predicted Burnsy beating AKA the old team from Colsey.
Yep, you were wrong.
Didn't work.
Yep.
Hey, listen, everybody that's joining us, thank you for coming along. Hi, Robert Wine, David Walter, Carlson, of course, our good buddy, Barry Shelley. We're going to see you Sunday with all your boys, Dan Boivay, Curtis Joseph coming up at 4:15. It's going to be a heck of a show with this guy, I'll tell you. We're going to have a lot of fun. What about those Montreal Canadiens? I want to hear your real opinion on them.
I'm telling you, they're Gooch. They're looking good. Got 2 incredible goaltenders. I know Val loves Jake Allen, and his kid Christian loves Jake Allen. Jake Allen's the perfect backup to give Carey Price a little bit of time off. I love their young talent. I love their veterans. This kid, Josh Anderson, man, I thought they paid a lot of money for him. That was a big contract, but the kid can play. He's solid. He can move the puck. He can score. He can hit. I love the intimidation factor that Montreal has right now. It's too bad that there's no crazy La Habitant fans to go nuts, as probably JP and the Flying Frenchman are they're planning the parade down Saint Laurent.
Well, we'll have them on Talking Tuesdays. They'll give us a good update. I'll tell you what, Toffoli just doesn't stop. He's a scoring machine. Scored on, I don't know if you saw the replay, but it didn't look like he was even going to make it to the net.
No. Hey, you know what I just noticed? I'm looking Curtis Joseph. So, Gooch, my birthday is April 26th. You're April 30th. Cujo is April 29th. He's right in between.
He's wearing my number.
Well, yeah, on his birthday. I don't think that had anything to do with him. That's his parents. And he was born in 67, Montreal Big Expo 67.
That's right. Last time the Stanley Cup was awarded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hey, listen, the Capitals, 6-3 winners over the Islanders, and that was a strange game. It was 3-0 for the Islanders, and I thought it was going to be a blowout.
Yeah, there's a couple of weird things going on. I thought at the beginning Boston was going to be brutal. They just keep winning. Pittsburgh has fallen apart. The Islanders are not playing great hockey. The Capitals, despite the fact that Ovechkin and the Russian boys decided to do a little bit of Russian private party, they're winning. It's kind of crazy right now.
Hey, mamma mia. Nicholas, how are you, buddy? Fiere.
I can't see any of these, so I don't know what you're doing.
He had me on the show yesterday. What a great guy. Thank you for that. Got a lot of compliments. And look at this. Gregoire Savoy, all the way from Australia. Tyler Toffoli, my Habs for MVP. Come on, let's not get silly. Tyler, they're not going anywhere without Carey Price.
Are they not coming up? Because normally when you put them, I can read them when you put them up, but I can't see any. Oh, there. Now I see it. Tyler Toffoli for my Habs, maybe a Hab MVP, not the league MVP.
Hey, listen, we'll get into all the scores now when we get our buddy back up. There's Nicholas saying, go Leafs, go. Let's go into the Leafs really quickly. They look good.
Yeah. You see that that goal from Austin Matthews? He has got an absolute cannon. It's almost like he's got a seeing eye shot, exactly where the goalie, I'm not a big Toskinen fan, but exactly where Toskinen's glove ended, and boom, it was in.
Hey, Jono, yes, sir. Go Caps, go. We forgot to mention the big guy scored. He almost reminds me of the Big Bird. I was going to say the Big Bird, of course. Chara's not anywhere close to our Larry Robinson. I apologize for that, for even suggesting that. But what a goal. What a goal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to see him have a little bit of success at his age. But, I wanted to ask you, you watched that Leaf game, the penalties. I think the refereeing is just horrendous. I'd love to have a ref or your buddy Paul Stewart on again, because the slashing calls that were nothing. They were basically, Kerfoot takes 3 penalties. I thought
that one was awful.
It was.
Well, that's great that you mentioned that. Our buddy Bobby B is up saying refereeing in last night's Leafs game was horrific, and I will agree with that. I'm not that dedicated. Hey, listen, without referees, you can't have a game, so you got to have somebody in there. So I think we have to be patient. As tough as it is for us, it's tough for them too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever be patient with referees, my friend.
Hey, Stephen, thank you, buddy. Matthews has a Gouche type shot.
Oh my God. Okay, well, Steve's never been on the ice to stop a good shot, so.
Yeah, okay, you got me when I'm 61. I didn't score 2,000 points without being able to break a pane of balsa wood. I can't do that now. I could not break a pane of balsa wood. And listen, we forgot to mention, really important, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in New York, the Rangers came back to beat the Buffalo Sabres in overtime.
4-3?
3-2.
3-2.
And the winning goal was scored by number
13.
You got it.
Okay.
Who's number 13?
Alexei Lafreniere.
You got it. Got his first, and it was a beauty.
Yeah.
It was a beauty.
Yeah, it's, you know what, this rookie with allowing these Europeans to come in and play their first year well into their 20s. I think the rookie season might be tough for a Lafreniere and a Tim Stützle. Did I say it right, Stützle? Stützle. Pardon me, Tim. Yeah, there's a couple of rookies that are older Russians that they may break the what the rookie was supposed to be meant to be.
Yeah,
exactly. It is what it is. Your first year in the league.
Hey, listen, we're really excited. We've got Cujo coming up. We've got Derrick Lucky is going to be with them. And our good friend, Wayne Cowley. They come as a threesome. It's going to be the three amigos. But let's talk about final parts on last night with Nicholas. Mamma mia, I'm on fire. Holding and slashing penalties are very weak this year. Yep. Can't agree with that more. Looks like new standard. Hope not.
But what they're allowing, see, I would be okay with that if they're calling everything. But they're allowing defensemen to cross-check the daylights out of guys in front of the net. They're not being called, but they're calling the minorest little slash where guys are barely touching somebody. Come on, man. Let them play hockey or call it all. One or the other.
Can't agree with you more. Hey, listen to this. Think about this for a second. What a statement. Why does Gouche push all the hard names to pronounce? To you, Rosie, LOL. Well, I got Derrick Lucky, pretty easy. Curtis Joseph, Cujo, pretty easy. And then my buddy Wayne Cowley, Cowles. I said all the hard names hard first.
Yeah, well, definitely were hard. Hey, can I tell my referee joke really quick?
Okay.
So in 2007, I was the master of ceremonies at the Royal Bank Cup in Prince George, BC. And that's where the Jerome Dupont Dupes, he was coaching the Aurora Tigers, Jimmy Thompson's Aurora Tigers now, and they won the Royal Bank Cup. It was huge. But I spoke at the banquet, and I had to introduce Bob Nicholson. I had to introduce all the teams and the referees. Didn't want to do it, but I said, fine. So I introduced the referees, and then I tell this joke, and he got really mad at me. But I said, hey, everyone, what's the difference between the referees at the Royal Bank Cup this year and Ray Charles? Everybody goes, what? I go, Ray Charles knows he's blind.
Oh my God, that's awful. Sorry for about that. Hey, Stephen Ellis, I am not worried about Lafreniere. Very similar start to his career of Stamkos and Jack Hughes and Joe Thornton. Good point. I'm not worried about him too. I think he's going to be just fine. It takes time, especially in that city. It's going to take.
There's no doubt, absolutely. I'm just saying with this Rookie of the Year thing and a couple of these older guys that have Riku status could be tough.
Hey, listen, just jumping in one of those cabs in New York City, getting to the game, he's probably, poop scared. Hey, listen, talk about balance. I think the league has a lot of parity this year. I think we're in good shape. I think it's going to be, as you said, I know we talked to the boys, Cowles and Lucky last time around, if they liked the Canadian division. Both of them said they loved it. So it's great to see. Bobby B's expecting that. Hey,
I think anybody that doesn't like the Canadian division doesn't like hockey.
All right, I'm going to let you do this one, Stephen Ellis.
Oh, not even close. What do you?
Thailand's best national team goalie is Pataropoulos.
Come on, Stephen. What are you doing? Why are you doing that, Stephen?
He can actually say it. Hey, listen, coming up next is obviously Cujo. We've got Derrick Lucky, and of course, our good friend Wayne Cowles up with us too. But let's talk about Cooch. Maple Leaf, last time he played 2008-09. In 1999, he won a trophy. Which one? Yes, you said it, the King Clancy. Awarded to the NHL player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice, and who has made a significant humanitarian contribution to his community. And we know he's done that. Yeah. Just as we go along, we've seen his mask. We'll see a picture of it in a few minutes. It's a snarly dog, of course, taken from Stephen King's novel, which is really good. Throughout his career, he played for St. Louis, Edmonton, Toronto, Detroit Red Wings, Phoenix Coyotes, and the Calgary Flames. Where do you like him most?
Canada, Salt Lake City. No, I think Toronto. He was the ultimate Toronto goalie. You know, you talk about perseverance, right? Undrafted. You know, Keswick / Richmond. I think he's born in Keswick and lived in Richmond Hill. But the type of kid who probably was told, and I'd love to ask him this, you can't make it. You're not good enough. And then what does he do? He makes it and has a really, really good career. Like, he's a hell of a goalie.
Well, we'll go to that when we get onto his book. His book was great. I didn't read it personally. I learned from Larry King, don't read a guy's book before you interview him, because you want everybody to be surprised, just as you. I thought that was really good advice coming from one of the best ever, who we just rest in peace. All right, so 2002, you were there, Winter Olympics, Salt Lake City. He also won a silver medal in the 1996 World Championships, a silver medal that same year in the World Cup of Hockey, which replaced, as you know, Canada Cup. And in 2007, he won the ultimate trophy, the gold medal Spengler Cup. I wonder how much fun that was.
Oh, I'm sure the Spengler Cup is a tournament that everybody that's been there loves it. You know, it's beautiful. Davos, what's wrong with Davos for Christmas?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do that next year. And as we're just waiting for all the boys to get in the green room. I see Cowles. I see Lucky. We're just waiting for Mr. Cujo to get in. Then we'll bring them all up. Joseph retired with the most career wins, 454 of any goalie in NHL history who never won a Stanley Cup. But I'll tell you what, he was a Stanley Cup type of goaltender. It has been done only by Robert Luongo.
Roberto.
That's what I said. I'm going to show you.
What?
Luongo.
Yeah, Roberto Luongo, not Robert.
I said Robert.
Yeah, right. I said Roberto.
I know, but I'm just, you know what I'm doing? I'm reading off Wikipedia.
Oh, and that's an excellent place to get solid information. Wikipedia.
No, but I got other solid information. There's a book out. I don't know if you saw it or heard it or read it. Cujo, The Untold Story of My Life on and off the ice. It's going to be great. We'll be able to chat with him about that when he gets up here. All right, couple questions on the Spengler Gold was the best part. You know what? Unbelievable. Cujo wasn't the guy in Salt Lake City. No, he wasn't. But we've had these conversations. Joseph, you know what? You can't win without a great backup, and he's no backup. Listen, everybody has to give up time. You know that. You know, Gretzky doesn't play as much. All the guys don't play as much. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, but in Luongo, pardon me, oh my God, Berdur and Joseph. You're talking about the Olympics is different than, you know, when you're an Olympian and you're on the bench, whether you're playing or you're not playing. As an Olympian and that spirit, it's not like sitting on the bench in the Stanley Cup final. Every Olympian that is there wearing that Canadian, that's why I wore the Canadian shirt, you know, especially Salt Lake. And I want to talk to him about this. Yeah. Salt Lake was this close to not happening, Gooch. As an athlete in the Olympics and the Paralympics, we didn't know where George Bush was pulling the plug up until a couple of months before Salt Lake.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're just waiting for Val, our producer, to get back. I saw him on the phone. I think he's probably ordering pizza, waiting for the Uber to show up, and then we're bringing the boys up. Your all-time favorite moment with Cujo, outside of obviously him being with you guys in 2002?
Yeah, you know, putting a gold medal around your neck is the ultimate. But I loved, you know, there's too many great saves that he made. But I think as a feisty goalie myself and having the problems I had with referees over the years, I still love when he blew out and skated out of the net and totally wiped out the ref and sent them flying. To me, that was the all-time classic. That's
right. Ray Scampanelli, he doesn't do these things. I've asked him many times to come on. He's always said no, but you know what? He sent a note about that and say, hello, Cujo, love ya. And he loves that. One of the all-time greatest moments for Ray, because he just loves that kind of controversy. Really apologize. We're just waiting for Val. There he is. Val is back in the house. And we are bringing you Curtis Joseph, Cujo, Wayne Cowley, Cowles, and of course, Derrick Lucky.
Are they coming up?
Yes, they are.
They're the boys. Oh, look at hey.
All right. Look at
another.
Which one's Cujo? Hey,
I was going to do something stupid like they did last time with the glasses, trying to be Robert De Niro, but now with the there he's got the glasses on, Cowley.
Oh my God.
Oh, they both do. Curtis, are you a part of this organization?
Wow, look at that.
COVID safe. We're COVID safe.
I can run and get a mask too.
Hey,
yeah, you got the real one.
They warned me about this. They said it's the only mask they wear for protection under the situation with COVID. I'm not sure those big holes help, but
hey, Cujo's in the U.S. You know, it's scary times.
Yeah. Okay.
So funny.
Hey, we love it. Hey, listen, thanks, guys, for joining us. I know, Cujo, it's great to have you. Don't mind us calling us Cujo. I see Curtis Joseph. There's the first question.
Whose dog is that?
We love it.
Lucky's dog. Listen,
Cujo, we want to do 3 parts really quickly. I know you're really busy and the boys want to have some fun with you, which we do too. But there are 3 things, obviously, you know, playing in the NHL, obviously going over and winning the Spengler Cup. I've been there. We're going to ask you about Davos, obviously 2002 in the Olympics. And then finally, writing a book, Cujo. I've not read it. I learned from Larry King Live. Ask the questions, find out about the book, and then go and read it, because I don't want to tell everybody the ending. So you can do that for us.
That's a nice way for Gouche to say it was too cheap to buy the book.
No, it's because I've only read 5 books. It takes me a long time to read a book. Hey, listen, Gouche, talk to us a little bit about your NHL career. How you got there, of course, is really important. Obviously, under these circumstances with COVID, and we don't know if, you know, our junior players are going to get drafted. We don't know if our kids coming up for midget will get an opportunity to be drafted up in the OHL. But you went through. Talk to us about that, please.
Well, certainly, I was an overage junior hockey player, and I would have never made it to the NHL if there was a year like this. But I played Tier 2 junior as a 20-year-old, and finally got a scholarship. I didn't have any scholarship offers before that, so that year was extremely important to me. And playing on a team like Notre Dame that had Rod Brindamore on it, who was going in the first round to the NHL from Tier 2 Junior A hockey. Every scout from the NHL had to come see Roddy, and every scout got to see the rest of us also. Same with the colleges. Every college had to go to Notre Dame in Wilcox, Saskatchewan to see Rod Brindamore. And so subsequently they saw the rest of us also. So Roddy really did us all a favor. We had 16 Division I scholarships from that team, which is unheard of. And so I got to go to Wisconsin, which was amazing. Both goalies were leaving, so I knew it was a terrific opportunity for me to get some playing time in college. And it turned out that I was undrafted, so it turned out I was a free agent, and which sped things up. And literally halfway through the year, there was NHL scouts coming to see me, and it really happened overnight, going from not getting a scholarship to, you know, being scouted by the NHL. So really overnight. And like I said, if we had a year like this at COVID, I wouldn't have, you know, I would have dropped that year and never made it.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate, as you know, it's the first time, and I think Paul has referenced 102 years, we're not going to have a Memorial Cup. I don't even know if we're going to have a Memorial Cup this year. So it's just devastating. Here's Craig Campbell from the Hockey Hall of Fame joining us, all-time OMHA great team goaltender Curtis Joseph. A banner hangs in the EG arena. Listen, tell us about an honor of that. Of course, you know, you've played at all the high levels. NHL gold medals, Olympics, of course, in the Spangler Cup. You won, you know, a silver medal in both the World Cup of Hockey and the World Championships. That's got to be a pretty special moment where you can go back to that rink every day or every once a week and you get to see that.
Yeah, to get to play for my country. Actually, the playing in the World Cup of Hockey was the first time I had played for Team Canada, and I thought Glenn Sather had maybe done me a favor at that point. There was a lot of goalies that could have played, but I think I rewarded him by playing real well in the World Cup of Hockey. That was a great experience. It had all the great players in it. It was formerly the Canada Cup, which we all watched before. So very, very proud to be able to play that. And me and Marty Brodeur were goaltending partners there and in the World Championship in Vienna too. So I played with Marty there and played with Marty again in the 2002 Olympics. So we were friends, but we were also competing. And obviously Leafs, New Jersey, we had a lot of rivalry. So that was a fun rivalry with Marty, and a lot of great teams that we played on, obviously, in those few years. But I saw the picture of the Spangler Cup there. I was, I forget how old I was, but I was still wanted to play in the NHL. And Kevin Pendergrass from the Edmonton Oilers had called me and said, "Hey, Curtis, if you still want to play, you should go to the Spangler Cup and go show everybody that you can still play." So I was like, wow, I haven't really been training. You know, I really want to do it. And I'm so glad I did, because, you know, all the Canadian guys that I met over there that were playing, we had a blast. And really, we got better as the tournament went along. So we built. And then we ended up winning the whole thing, which was fantastic. It was a great time. And I would recommend that tournament to anybody. It was a lot of fun and a very special moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Curtis, I want to ask you a question. I've had the opportunity to ask Marty a few times about Salt Lake and then about Torino. He did one of the classiest things, because in Torino the men's team ended up in 7th, and our para team, we had a terrible time in Salt Lake. So when we went into Torino, we stayed in the same dressing room as the Canadian team, and there was a note on my stall as the #1 goalie going into Torino, which I just thought, as you know, I was 46 years old in Torino, and it just meant the world to me, this bond that the Olympians and Paralympians had together with Canada. So I want to ask you about Salt Lake, because a lot of people forget about it. You know, on September 11th, the world almost came to an end, and we didn't know as Paralympians and you as an Olympians that whether Bush was going to pull the ripcord or we were going to go. What was it like getting into Salt Lake before the games, with the way the world was? What was it like, the tension to you guys?
Yeah, it was a real uncertain time, no question, and for good reason. So we didn't know what was going to go on, but once we got there, you know, it was you thought about the game, and you thought how big the Olympics were, and get to go in the village with the other athletes and really experience what Winter Olympics is all about, which, as you know, is so much fun and so much different live than on TV. So you get to be behind the scenes, and then to see how much it means to the country to play for your country, and the pressure that 2 weeks means to all Canadians, and to represent them. It's a whole nother level. So it was an exciting time. It was interesting. I got to see a few other events, but definitely there's a lot of pressure playing for your country and having the whole country cheering for you and depending on you and being the favorites generally. But it was fun. It was a great experience. Obviously, everybody in the team is an all-star. So, you know, some, you know, Hall of Famers were on the fourth line also. So it was quite an experience. It was quite an experience.
Let me ask you one real quick one about people ask me all the time. Only had I played in 3 games in Salt Lake, Torino, and Vancouver. Only won the gold once, which, you know, people say only won once. That's nice, but when you're playing, you want to win all the time. So they always ask me, where do I keep my gold medal from Torino? Where do you keep the gold from Salt Lake?
It's in the box, and it's literally in a cabinet. I don't have it displayed anywhere, but I know where it is, and you know, every once in a while I'll bring it out, or if I have an appearance that I feel, you know, where kids can get to see it, and really it's kind of it's cool. It's heavy. Not many people have a gold medal, so it's really a cool thing to share with other people. So when I'm at home, though, it's in a cabinet in the box, the original box. So
mine's in my sock drawer with my
cool.
underwear.
Good place for it.
Hey, Gouche, listen, I apologize. I'm not being disrespectful. I can't believe how many emails and texts I'm having with questions for you. On the right-hand side, we do have some people making comments, so I really apologize. One great comment or question comes here from Stephen Rosen, Paul's brother. How did you adjust to the resizing of the goalie equipment during your career, and also the new style of goaltending? How did you learn it? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, well, first of all, the equipment got lighter and stiffer every year. So even though I feel like I was losing a step every year, the weight of the equipment would drop at least a pound or 2 in the pads alone. And so I felt like I was staying pretty level. It's kind of like the golf equipment and the golf balls.
Yeah.
You know, we're not hitting it as far as we should be. We used to when we were 20, but actually we are, because the technology and the equipment gets better and better. So I feel like the same with goalie equipment. It got lighter and lighter and lighter. I think my pads in Edmonton were like 7 pounds each pad. By the time I was finished at 41, they were probably 2 pounds each. I mean, that's 5 pounds each leg just in the goalie pads alone. And when you see players measuring ounces in their skates, to knock off 5 pounds in pads in relatively short period of time, 3 or 4 years, that's a huge thing. Your recovery, getting up, getting down, getting side to side, recovery at the end of the game is just huge. So the equipment really dictated that the goalies could play on their knees, and then the bigger goalies came in. So I saw a huge transition in equipment. And the style, too. The style got better and better and better. I had to go to goalie school when I was 35, 36 and learn how to play on my knees, even though I wasn't the tallest. But it was the right thing to do. Now a 5-hole goal, even if it's deflected, is a bad goal in my book, because it goes through you. And back in the day when I first started, a tip 5-hole, hey, there's nothing you can do. But now the goalies have there's no 5-hole, there's not a lot of room, and it's very efficient, and the goalie coaches teach it so well. So that has come a huge distance, and the goalie equipment dictated. Look at all the holes, look at all the net that I see. I always say, it's funny, but that's how we had to get up and get across. Whereas now they just push.
So real quick, that was my brother said that. So my brother used to work for Doug Adair at Rec Sports in Aurora, and I know you used to go in there all the time.
Hey, listen, Cujo, just want to do a shout out, Joey Lyons. I worked with the Leafs in the locker room during Cujo's final season. Wants a shout out. Thank you for joining us, bud. That's really kind of you, Joey. I know, Lucky, we're going to talk about Cujo's book, but before we do that, and what obviously, Cujo, what you think of the NHL now, the Canadian division, we'll get into that before we let you go. But I know that you want to tell us a little story about Cujo, Lucky.
Oh
no,
Cujo. Oh no. First guy's a great guy. I mean, deal with him. We got to spend some time together. We went to an appearance in Timmins, and
great time.
You're on a plane together, and we hit it off. And I really saw a guy that cared about the workings of the team and the old arena and how things work. Spending time with all the fans that came up to meet him. And I knew right then that we were going to have a good relationship because he was so pure and cool. And when my wife sent him some jam, and he called back, said, "That's the best jam I ever had, Lucky. You better resend me some more of that. I need more." So he's a real good guy to work with. And like I say, we just did an exclusive goalie mask deal with a company out of Montreal, and it was smooth. And it's just he's a good guy, like I say, to work with. I work with a lot of them, Dougie and the other Leafs, but Cujo's got a good heart and a good sense of humor. We go back and forth on the texts quite a bit, so I'll leave it at that. But we have a lot of fun together, that's for sure.
I got a question for you, Cujo.
Yep.
What about the picture behind Lucky? Honestly, it's a sports show.
Here we're
looking at birch trees.
Yeah.
Right.
It's okay. Okay, hang on, Gouche. There you go.
Hey, maybe it was the sticks, made sticks out of it or something.
Obviously, he has no say in the decorating of his house, right?
Exactly.
Oh, here we go.
Hey,
You don't see the rest of the aura though here. There's a lot going on in this room.
Hey, listen, on the right-hand side, another great question coming. Being a goalie myself and growing up, loving the cool designs, which one was your personal favorite, Cujo? Pretty cool.
Well, yeah, obviously the Cujo dog. That's the one in St. Louis, which started it all. It's simple. It's clear. Yeah, the one with the trumpets too was my original mask, which is really cool. It's actually in the Hall of Fame right now, which they can display it all they want. It's tremendous, and that was a good first one to start. But having the nickname Cujo and designing that mask, and it was really my persona on the ice, and it was really well done. And kids, were able to use masks in minor hockey, so they'd have Cujo paintings. So the Cujo mask is really close to my heart, and it's who I am.
So that's Gary from Hobby Cards. Here's a question from Catherine. Prince from Churchville. Cujo, in your book, when you were 10 years old, you played with the same Titan goal stick for 4 years. Did they not make a stick like that? Do they not make a stick like that anymore? Loved your book.
Well, I got one stick and it lasted for 4 years. That thing was so heavy. It dragged me around, but it had the plastic on the bottom of it too.
That's right.
It lasted so long, but it was so heavy, and literally it wasn't helping my development at all, having a stick that heavy. But you know what? Who's going to buy you a stick, right? So eventually somebody else bought me a stick, and they lasted that long. I only played single A hockey, so the shots weren't that hard.
Hey, Cujo, our producer's saying it was a great ball hockey stick because you wouldn't get slivers coming out of the bottom. Rosie, great question.
Curtis, I want to ask you one of my first, before I ask Craig's really quick, one of my thrills is the fact that my mask is in the Hall of Fame also from the win in Torino, and it happens to be right beside yours and Grant Fuhr's. It's all in that little. There's a bunch of them. But there's you, Grant Fuhr, myself, and to me, it's a Canadian goalie. It's one of the greatest thrills to be beside yours. What is it like to have something like that, to be able to go down to the Hollow House or have one of your family members call you up and go, man, I saw your mask in the Fame?
It is special. It's a special place, and I get a kick out of it when I bring one of my kids or I bring a friend, because it's somebody to share that with. It's like going to a good movie by yourself. It's not really that much fun. But if you're able to bring somebody, one of your friends or your wife or somebody, then you have this feeling of pride, because the Hockey Hall of Fame for us, us Canadians, I mean, it's a place we can go and visit and see the real equipment that the guys wore. I mean, it's I get a thrill out of it all the time, going and looking at the different displays and looking at the different masks. Yeah, there's a good picture of it right there. So I'm very proud to have that in there.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Craig asks, who are the best defensive D-men that you played with, guys you could really rely on not to lose the puck in front of you?
Well, the obvious ones are Scott Stevens and Nicholas Lidstrom. Two amazing defensemen that I had a chance to play with for a short period of time. I wish I could have played with those guys for my whole career. But, at any time I got the puck in Detroit, I always faked to the opposite side of Nick and then threw it over to Nick every time. Because if you got the puck on Nick's stick with nobody around him, it was going to be out of the zone. So these are things that you had to know. But those are guys that everybody knows about. But when I was in Toronto, Dmitry Yuskevich and Danny Markov were really heroes to me. They played hard, and in the playoffs, when it meant the most, these guys would block shots. And Leaf fans will remember, I had a good relationship with Brian McCabe too. We always talked on the ice, so we always had a plan. And so those were special times. That's probably why I feel like we went so far, is because we had guys who cared, and we had personalities like the defenseman who wanted to keep the puck out of the net, like I did too. So we were all on the same page, and it really made a difference on the ice, keeping the puck out of the net. So for you young guys and even in rec hockey league players, if you have a plan to keep your puck out of your net, it's very important, and that's what you need for sure.
Hey, Lucky, I want to ask you a question. You hang with Cujo a lot. You know him. Can you tell us something that somebody here would like to know about him? Does he play cards? Does he love movies? I want to hear it from you, and then we'll ask Cujo how much you know.
That well. I think he's a real family guy. That's for from a lot of talking he spends. He's a real, and that's one of the things that's very impressed with. Families first, and friends are first, and very loyal. And these are kind of accolades that you want to have and emulate with someone. It's awesome to know him. Every time we talk, he always has time. It's funny, but you can tell families first, and his kids was very important. I think that was a big reason why he retired when he did, even though he was 42, he said. I think he could have probably played some more, but I think it was to spend time with his kids. And if you saw the press conference when he retired, which I remember, he had his kids in the crowd. One couldn't go out of school, I remember. But that was made really clear that families first, and families should always be first. And I think that was a big thing I got to. And reading his book and the journey blew me away. I mean, most guys don't go that way, but very impressed. Always good to be around him. Always has time to talk to someone. Take pictures, and he's very popular when he's out in public.
No question. Listen, we're going to go to the book right now. There, obviously, the Hockey Hall of Fame is saying thanks to you, Cujo, and of course Paul, for donating those masks. They're a big hit, an absolute hit when people come in there. Al Kerr is asking. We'll get that later to you. I want to ask you about the book. Obviously, how did you? Paul's had his memoirs written. I've written a book, but it was about concussions. It's a big job. And how much fun it's a lot of fun at the end of it, especially when you see that printed copy. Walk us through that, because it's called Cujo, the untold story of my life on and off the ice.
Yeah, it's something that my wife was, she would pull things out of me, which I didn't talk about my childhood ever to anybody. But she's always like, you got to write a book. It's a great story. And of course, I'm thinking about all the guys I played with and all the stories that they had. And I'm like, I don't know if I have enough for a book. But once I would wrap my head around that, the book would be helpful to a lot of people, a lot of kids dealing with pressure, how to make it, different things that my childhood went through. Once I realized that it was going to be a helpful book for a lot of people, it was easy for me to say, okay. And also collaborating with Kirsty Day was really easy. She's terrific to work with. We spent a lot of time. We spent a year together, a lot of times 5 hours at a time. We'd say, okay, we're only going to go an hour and a half this time. And we'd spend 5-6 hours at a time. And it was great. And she did her research. She would call my friends. She would call anybody, and we'd have stories. And we'd read them together, and I'd be like, wow, what a great story. This is what I was thinking here. And I'd elaborate on it. And it was a great exercise to do. And I knew the bottom line was that it's going to help people and kids who read it. So when you have an attitude like that, it's easy to do.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Val, our producer, we couldn't do the show without him. He's behind the scenes, but he presses all the right buttons, tries to make us look good. Sometimes he makes Gouche look good, but he's asking about the outdoor games. What was it like to play in the outdoor games?
Oh, it was always an honor when you got asked to play. I got to play in 2 Toronto-Detroit games. They were a lot of fun and a lot of hoopla when the Leafs have an outdoor game. Tons of fans come out. I'll remember one specifically, and I mentioned it in the book. Wayne Gretzky had asked me to play for the Oilers because Grant Fuhr couldn't play, had knee problems, and Andy Moe couldn't play. And it was going to be in Winnipeg in October. Wayne got to pick the date, so none of us were freezing. So we got to play in the football stadium. And so my kids, the backstory to this is that my kids asked me, Dad, who owned you in the NHL? And I'd be like, nobody owned me. And meanwhile, I'm thinking of, guys who scored on me in certain situations, the guys who had my number, maybe Steve Larmer when early in my career, or Steve Thomas when he was in the Island. These guys could really score. Or Marian Hossa was another one. But anyway, they go, okay, Dad. Nobody, right? So they get on the computer and they check and they go, Timo Solani. Oh my gosh, I think he's got 35 goals on you. And I'm like, the memories all come flooding back. They all come flooding back. Nightmares. Anyway, at the end of the game, Timo's got like 5 points, and I'm closing the game. Somebody trips Timo in the other end. He gets a penalty shot with no time remaining. Here he comes down to win the game. Sure enough, he snipes on me to win the game. The Winnipeg fans are happy. Everybody's happy. I'm retired, but I'm not happy. Like, you as an athlete, doesn't matter whether you're retired or not. So I get in the room and I sit down on the bench, and my phone is beside me. And Billy Ranford's over here, and my phone starts to buzz on the bench. Zzz, zzz, zzz. I'm like, I pick it up and look at it. It's my middle boy, Tristan. And I read the text that goes, still owns you, Dad.
I was at that game. I was at that game. It was wild. What killed me about that game was the weather was beautiful.
Oh, it was. I was actually at that game too. How great was that?
Did you go 5-hole on you there? Look, the puck went 5-hole.
How cool was that, Cujo? Because it was a great. Yeah, it was in that outdoor stadium was just perfect. It was perfect weather. What a moment. Gretzky back on the ice. It was great to watch.
Yeah.
I was going to say to you, Curtis, thank God you didn't go to the first Edmonton one, because I was at the
Yes.
first outdoor game. It
Montreal.
was 35 below. And I could tell you, someone passed, I think Paul, I went with coffee, and he passed me a beer. And the time he gave you, I looked down, the thing was frozen. I go,
Yeah.
dude, like what? It was so cold. It was so cold.
Yeah, and
It's
there's
amazing.
there's
on the
Delaney.
Winnipeg.
It's amazing they
Well,
didn't cancel the rest of them after
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
That's right. On the
Yeah,
right-hand side, there's a couple more
really bad.
questions before we let you go. I know that Paul and Lucky, you guys want one more question with him. So, but I just want to get to the people here on the right-hand side. We know goalies can be very unique and very suspicious. Did you have one post pre-game? Is there a ritual that you could tell us?
Yeah, I never wanted to. I know goalies are quirky and a little different, and players try to stay away from them and not bother them. But I always wanted to be accessible to my teammates if they wanted to ask about the other goalie or, different plays. And so before the game, I was fine. I could talk to anybody and everybody. And but if things were working, you're playing well, you did the same routines, you stretched in the same corner of the dressing room, you did all you taped your stick the same way, everything was at the same time. So I had routines, no question. And my thing was, I never wanted to be that quirky guy that you couldn't talk to on game day, because I felt like I had a lot of information to be able to help, especially on the other goalie down the other end. So my thing was, when I stepped onto that ice, when my foot touched that ice, that's when I turned the switch to my persona was Cujo, and be a warrior out there. So that was my thing. So I can tell kids, you can be a great teammate and have fun and enjoy the game. And the moment your foot touches that ice, you're in the zone. You're a different guy. You're a tiger.
Hey, listen, one more question before you guys get at Cujo. This is a great question. Obviously, they're trying to learn the game. Curtis, what was your attitude and mindset with the other goalie partners? We've heard stories from other goalies being, kind of quirky and that sort of stuff with it. I've heard that you aren't, of course. I've hung around you a couple times in some of the celebrity games. You're always there for everybody. Did you help them in any way, especially somebody that's coming up? Did you take time out for them because they all looked up for you?
So being a goalie is very interesting, because your goalie partner really is your competition also. So you have to be friends with him, but yet you want to play. So it's an interesting tightrope and a dynamic. So you're always evaluating your goalie partner, being friends with them, helping them. And it's a tough thing. You're so competitive. You want him to play well, but you want yourself to play better. So it's funny. My goalie partner was always best buddy, and actually in St. Louis, Vincent Riendo was the first guy who taught me how to be. You could actually be friends with your goalie partner and still be competitive. He really taught me that. I remember being in St. Louis, and he had the #1 job, and I was going to get it, and I really wanted it. And he'd call me in the afternoon and goes, "Hey, Curtis, Marie-José has got something to do. Can you pick me up?" And I'd always be like, "Man, I'm trying to take this guy's job, and he wants me to come pick him up." So being young, your maturity level isn't quite there. And I would go and pick him up, and he really would talk to me about other things in hockey. And he really taught me how to be a friend and a goalie partner. And I'm so glad I had him to start with, because he really taught me the right way and how to do it. And so I was always there for advice. And I'll tell you another story, actually, up in Calgary. And Kiprasov was my partner. And I was older than him, and he was the guy. He was the guy who was going to lead us to the cup. So, I went to him and I said, "Hey, Kipper," and he was a little standoffish at first, and he thought, we were competing for the job. We are competing, but he's a lot younger than me. I'm not going to be able to play 60 games a year. And so anyway, I went to him and I said, "Hey, I have a Rolodex of shooters in my head, and I played against these guys a lot. If there's any time you want to know about a player, where they're going to shoot or anything," I had a photographic memory of a lot of players, and especially guys. We're playing Colorado, especially a guy like Joe Sakic, because I've seen him a million times. And he goes, yeah, because some goalies, they're quirky and they don't want to know where guys shoot because it's going to get in their head. But he goes, yeah. Tell me about Joe Sakic. And I said, listen, if Joe Sakic gets it, it's going to take him a split second to get it away, and he's going to go low blocker. That's his favorite spot. And so literally first minute into the
All right, we've lost our buddy Cujo. If hopefully we get him back. Talk to us a little bit about. There was a question about him being a leader. Like, a lot of people don't know that he was a leader, a quiet leader in the dressing room. As you know, Paul, sometimes the goalie is kind of quirky and laid back, but he was just one of those guys that you really knew when he was there, he was leading that team.
He was a good. I mean, he was great teammates. Any teammate you talk to that mentions Cujo or played with Cujo, first thing you'll say is, "God, I love that guy." It's just he was always there for the teammates. I don't think you never heard anything about him off the ice.
Nope.
You know, he never got into any drama. He's always going to be that stable rock. And then when he played, but he's so right, when his foot hit that ice, competitive. Oh my Lord! Even in a charity games, you know, like when you scored on him, you think he'd want to kill you. Yeah. So he was always that kind of guy. Where other goalies I met, I can remember the first time I met a pretty famous Hall of Fame goalie, and they said, "Oh, Lucky's in the back there getting ready. He told you to come back." I go back, and he's standing against his locker naked, and he's talking about the deal we're doing, and he won't turn around. So he turns around, and then it was just like, blah, 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 blah. He's going off about this teammate and that teammate. I'm going, oh my Lord! But that wasn't Cujo. You know what I mean? Cujo, I've never heard him say a bad thing about a person ever.
Yeah. No.
You know, he always saw the good side of someone. And that was why it's great working with him.
Yeah.
Like I say, that trip to Timmins, we had a blast. And we went up to the Timmins Rock, and we did some stuff with the junior team up there and spent the day. And, you know, what do you want to eat? Oh, Subway's good enough for me. So it was never, you know, he just was, you know, meat and potatoes, really easy to get along with. But he's lived quite the life, too.
Hey, Paul, obviously you've watched him play and perfect his game. What's the one thing you can say about, from a goaltender's perspective, about his style?
I think to me the biggest thing with him is he was a winner. Like he refused to lose. Maybe wasn't the most technically. Every goalie has got this technical style. Sometimes they want, but I think with him, the thing I loved about watching him was he would do whatever it took to stop the puck. Whether he had to stand up, whether he had to dive, he handled the puck really well. A lot of people might forget that. You know, in an era where not a lot of goalies were real good puck handlers, he'd come out of the net. But I think more than anything, defensemen loved him because of that refuse to lose attitude.
Yeah. Lucky, as we let you go, obviously we've lost Cujo. I know we'll get him back someday and we can ask him a couple more questions.
Absolutely.
But, you read the book, of course. Talk to us a little bit, and Paul, you know, you've done your memoirs, and of course I know how difficult it's to write it. How easy was it to read? I was just reading a text saying from Robert, our good friend, of course, Robert Wine, who, you know, struggles to read. He can't read a book, so we're going to make sure it gets on Kobo. How easy was it to read?
Well, I tell you what, I did your approach. I didn't read it before I met him. Like, I've known him. I see him at events and that, but really start working with him, I didn't want to read it first. So I wanted to meet him, hang out with him, get to know him. And then I couldn't wait to read it. So I remember as soon as that Timmins trip was over, I sprinted it down and I got a copy of it. And I read it all in one night. I couldn't put it down. And I'm texting him as I'm reading it. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Really? What was it like? And then there's some childhood things that I had, and there he is coming back, that were similar to my childhood. So there's some things that, you know, everybody has. And I think the honesty of the book was what really impressed me. He went in areas that he was obviously wouldn't be comfortable in, but is comfortable in talking about, because it will help someone that's going through a similar path know that no matter what you have going on, you can make it. If you put yourself and set yourself up for success, you can make it.
Yeah.
And that's
Great
proven
point.
right there by reading it.
Great point.
Looks like Cujo's above the 407. So we're having a little bit of Wi-Fi. Hey, thanks for coming back, Cooch. I know it's difficult with Wi-Fi sometimes. It's just great to have you on our show. If we lose you, it's okay, but we really appreciate the time that we've had from you. And I just want to see if we can get one more thought of you.
Sure.
As you continue on doing great things here in Toronto, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on the NHL? Obviously, the Canadian division, everybody's going to want to know that. And of course, what do you think of the Toronto Maple Leafs right at this moment?
I'm gonna put my here we go.
I love the North Division. I think the NHL, they were thinking safety first, but they knocked it out of the park. They really did with the Northern Division. And being a Canadian, who doesn't want to see all the Canadian teams compete against each other and see who the best team in Canada really is? So kudos to the NHL. They did a great job. And the Leafs, they were my prediction to win the division this year. And they're headed that way. They've gotten off to a tremendous start, which is key in a short season. And you see Freddie Anderson rounding into form now, which is going to be great. He's going to backstop the team to be able to play offense. And so I really like this team. They're hitting on all cylinders right now. I love the addition of Joe Thornton. I know he's out right now, but that guy is a warrior. He's a leader. I played against him a lot. He's a great passer. He just plays the game the right way. Tremendous influence for those young guys, even though he's hurt right now, and that's what they needed.
Hey, Cujo, we see obviously the third string goaltender for the Leafs. I know Paul wants to get in here and ask a question about goaltending. I want to ask you, obviously the Leafs are riding with Anderson. We now know that Campbell's hurt out for a couple of weeks. How much pressure is it on Anderson to know he may be going, as you know, Anderson, third string goalie who we don't know who you are. How much pressure is it on Anderson? And now, of course, Michael Hutchinson. It's got to be, because they're on a run, and it certainly looks good.
Right. Well, there's two ways to look at it, and it depends on your personality as a goaltender. So it may be right now that Freddie's going to play a lot of games. And if you're a goaltender who knows that even if you have a bad game, you're probably going to be in there back again because the number 2 guy is hurt, and he was playing really well. So it takes a little bit of pressure maybe off of Freddie. And to play in Toronto with a little bit less pressure is very important. It generally makes you play better when you don't have as much pressure. So it's no coincidence to see that Freddie's on a bit of a roll. And I think, it's unfortunate, but, Freddie knows he's going to be in there most nights, even if he plays bad.
Hey, Could you look like you're still in shape? Could you be an emergency goalie?
I could play one great game. That's it.
Oh, that's all they need.
Done for the year.
That's it. That's all we need.
This for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes wearing this, and I'm already dizzy. So I don't know how you can play with this.
Hey, lucky you were dizzy before you put the thing on. Rosen,
You're right, I was.
Curtis, my last question or last comment to you, and I really appreciate you coming on the show as a fellow goaltender. I love the way you handle the puck. I love your strength and perseverance in the net. It took a lot to put one by you, and you got pissed when went by you. But in my career, I played 10 years for the Parrot team. I had a reputation with the referees around the world. They did not like me. I did not like them. I know you didn't have many run-ins with referees, but you had the one famous one. Talk to us about that, and then thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, I had some other run-ins with Mick Magoo before, and I always like to chat with the referees, and our job was to see everything that happened, right? And so if I saw that the referee was missing things, I would mention it to him. And maybe they didn't like that. Well, sometimes they're human too. Sometimes if you point out enough guys who got away with penalties against your team, they'll call one in the other way. And then you get a power play, you score, you win the game. So I always talked to the referees and wanted to know an explanation why a blatant call wasn't called. Or anyway, they probably thought I was a pain in the butt, but I wanted to win also. So forgive me for that. But I felt like I was interfered with on that play, and it was a boiling point. I wasn't playing well in that game either. That was probably a factor. But at the end of the day, and I always talk about this, we ended up winning the series. And sometimes, well, as a goalie, you're in a leadership position, as you know. And when the goalie loses his mind, and I wasn't, I didn't like to single out certain people, but sometimes your teammates stand up and take attention and go,
Absolutely.
"Oh boy, we got to be better. We got to be a little bit better." And I feel like we did that, and we ended up winning the series.
Hey, listen,
it's funny. I just want to say one thing too, and
Yeah.
that's what we talked about last time with Anderson. I said maybe that's the only thing a little missing. Maybe he should punch someone once in a while, show some fire, because I think that would get the boys riled up. But I want to just say quickly too, because before you go, Cujo, I want to thank you, because when I asked you to come on with me and you said yes right away, I really appreciate you doing that, because these guys were pumped, and I know a lot of people were pumped that you were able to come, even though you're in warm Arizona right now. And
oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That would make sense. He's close to the 407. Hey, Cooch, just before we let you go.
Yeah, he's close to the 407.
There was a question here. Were you, I can't recall off the top, you caught with a hand and then you had to move your stick around to shoot, is that?
I was being a right-handed shot and catching with my left hand, because I played baseball before I played hockey, was a huge disadvantage at handling the puck. So I had to figure out a way to be able to handle it and be effective. So I could shoot left, but I could stick handle right, and I could use that backhand flip and land it in the other team's zone. So I worked on that from day one since I got in the NHL, and I felt like it was a weapon. I remember Joe Sakic coming at me one time, full blast, and I turned around, and he's like, "Oh, the pitchfork, the pitchfork, the pitchfork," because it was like a pitchfork, and he didn't want to get hit in the face. He didn't want to get hit in the face with the follow through. So it was an effective tool, especially killing penalties.
Yeah. All right, Cujo, thank you for all your time. I just want to let you go on this. Rob Weir is coming out and saying, listen, Cujo, you do so much for charities all across the world, and we thank you so much, and specifically at Sick Kids. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of our show. Lucky, thank you for getting us the opportunity to be with Cujo for a few minutes and hear about one of the all-time legends in Toronto and, of course, in the NHL. Congratulations on a great year. I know there's lots more to hear from you. I'm going to now buy the book, and I'm going to read it. It may take me a year, but I'm going to read it, buddy, because I'm a slow
Tell you
reader.
what, Kerry, I'll save you the money. I'm going to send you a book.
Yeah.
No,
we'll
So there you go.
We'll get him.
Okay.
I'll get Cujo to sign it. We'll get an autographed copy sent to you.
Thanks,
You have
Cujo.
to read
You're
it.
fantastic. Thanks, Lucky.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, buddy.
It was a real
Thanks a lot,
pleasure.
guys.
Great
Take
show.
care. Thanks for having me, Rosie.
Yeah.
Take care, Rosie.
See you guys.
All right.
Two great guys. That was good. I love the masks.
Yeah,
I think
he,
it's
where
hilarious.
did Cowley go? He was on for the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, Cowley, I don't know.
Oh.
I saw the phone ring and off he went. He probably had to, I think he's doing Uber Eats right now.
Oh, okay. Well, God bless him as long as he's working.
My son is a huge fan. I just had to say it is his name is Austin. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Well, I'll tell you real quick. So Jack Anderson, who's a family friend, her son, Austin, incredible kid. I just spoke yesterday at his school for him and his classmates. This kid is a absolute gem. His grandparents were huge supports in my teenage years, especially his grandfather, Brian. But Austin, you're the man, brother. We love you.
Hey, listen, that was a great show. I'll tell you what, we had a little bit. I thought he lived up in Vaughan or something like that.
No, he's in Arizona. I thought you knew he was in Arizona.
I did not know that.
Oh, okay. I should have told you that from the beginning. Yeah.
Hey, listen, we got some great shows coming up. I've confirmed, not the date, but I've confirmed Dave Tiger Williams. How about that one? That is going to be show among shows. Don't forget, tomorrow we got Talking with Taylor, and we've got The Rink of Dreams on Sunday, a very special show. You got to make sure you check it out. Barry Shelley has got 4 guys coming on that was involved in Youngblood. They're involved in Slapshot, and it is going to be a show of shows. Do not miss it. Yes,
Absolutely.
Joseph, no question, exemplary
Bobby B.
athlete. All business on ice and the kindest person off the ice, no question.
Yeah. Just let Bobby B know tomorrow. I'll be there at Jimmy's in the afternoon. You can take a couple of Bobby B bullets at me.
Want to do a big, huge shout out to you, Kevin Hune. Thank you for being a part of our show. Robert Weir, thank you, bud. Hey, another great show. Absolutely, Tommy. You know why? because we got great fans like you to come on and ask the questions, those hard questions we want to know about what does he eat before a game. We forgot to ask him that. And I did want to get him. I know we lost him for a few seconds. I did want to ask him, who was the toughest shooter? You know, we talked about Steve Larmer. I think I heard Steve Thomas. I think
he said Joe Sakic, and you know, and then his kid obviously said Timo Solani beat him 35 times. Maybe we'll be fortunate enough to get him back on again. You know, maybe one of these days we can get an all-time goalie great show with Eddie Belfour back and Cujo, and maybe I can get Marty Brodeur on. That would be cool. Are we going to go flip to our scores?
Yeah, we're going to do that really quickly. Hey, we had our buddy, as Val says, he was King City. I knew he was north. Just didn't know where. I think he had
him and Wendell, they were King City boys. He used to go in. My brother used to work at Doug Adair's Rec Sports in Aurora. I used to go in there all the time, my brother told me.
All right, Val, get up here. Let's get through these games. There's only one tonight.
That's it.
I want to say this right off the bat.
Yeah.
What is wrong with the Ottawa Senators?
Well, you know what?
Take a number.
They, I think it's their inexperience that, you know, they're going to be a good team in a few years, but let's not get crazy. You know, they got a young team, great coaching, and they'll be there eventually. But Vancouver started to put it together with 3 wins in Vancouver in a matter of 5 days against the team. And, you know, Toronto tomorrow night, if they beat Edmonton, they'll have won 4 games in 6 days in Alberta. Never happened before.
Listen, I promise you, Anthony, all the way from my favorite part of the world, I've never been, Tasmania, we are going to organize an all-time goalie show. That's going to be fantastic because you know what I'm lining up? Paul Stewart's helping me. We may be getting Kerry Fraser. We're going to do an all-referee. That is going to be an amazing show.
They may not like me at the end of the show.
Yeah, Bobby's asking, do you remember the shooting demo we did with Big Brothers Canada?
I do. Rick Vibe was there.
From Holland Landing, if I recall. Okay, here we go. Rosie, your brother's already coming on. He's ahead of us. I just wanted to go, what is going on in Pittsburgh? Now,
that's another one.
Rutherford's gone. The next general manager, a lot of names were thrown around. I heard Mike Fuda. I'm going to get Foots on the show really quickly before he gets that job and we don't get him back on the show. What's going on, guys? Are the Pittsburgh Penguins done?
I don't think it's done. I think they're just in a little bit of trouble, and I think they're the reverse of Boston. We all thought Boston was on the downslide. Boston's actually been playing great. Tuukka Rask's on fire. I think they look good, and Pittsburgh looks bad, but it's still a long. There's Montreal's only played 6 games. They got 50 games left. Like let's pump the brakes a little.
Okay. Hey, listen. Of course, last night Alexei Lafreniere scores his first one, overtime, 3-2 against the Sabres. It was beauty. Did I pick that game right?
No, we never picked that game last night.
Oh, then I picked it right.
We'll all get the bonus point then.
Give us the stats, Val.
You know what? It was a good night overall. Paul wins the night at 4-0, plus 1 bonus for the right scorer. I went 3-1, no bonus. And Kerry, you went 2-2, bottom of the pack.
Hey, with the night before, the night before I was 3-0, so I'm 7-0 right now. I'm gonna quit right now. I'm done.
No question.
7-0.
I'm coming back. Listen, I want to say this. I'm really annoyed at Tim Hortons. I told you that story yesterday.
They charge you for your coffee today?
I forgot who I picked, so I don't even know if I won anything. You don't show anything.
Oh, really?
Please send me a copy of what I picked. I think my wife beat me in the Tim Hortons contest. All right, listen, one game tonight. Let's talk about it. The Chicago Blackhawks, who are playing way better than those Detroit Red Wings, sorry, Val, up against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And when will Torts shut up? Like, never. Seriously, he's still trying to defend himself because he knows he's in the wrong. If you're not in the wrong, you don't say anything. Shut up. And I think it's
he's never going to shut up.
His agent has basically said, I'm sick and tired of listening to it. I think it's Pat Brisson. Let it go. It's over. So
I think the only class in the situation is Dubois, who said nothing negative whatsoever. I think Thing is never going to say anything. What does that say? I am making a call. Sid's going to be traded. Not a chance. No way. Forget it, Bobby. Sid's not going anywhere.
Sorry, sorry about that. Is Torts actually still on this road trip of Dubois?
Yes, he's saying. What he said yesterday was anybody that's talking like they know me, they don't know me, so they don't know what I'm thinking or what I'm saying. So Johnny,
I know you.
Like, shut up already.
You know what? Let it go. Famous words. Let it go.
Let this one go, and we're going to wrap it up right now.
Yeah.
Bobby B. I am going to go on record with Bobby B. I think that's the right call.
No.
I say Sid the Sid. Let's stop calling him Sid the Kid. I heard that last night. I said he's a little over the kid part on the show last night. You know what? I think he's going to be traded. I think the new general manager comes in. They're going to get a bucket full for a rebuild. You'd be crazy not to.
But Sid goes before Gino?
Yeah.
Really?
They're not going to get a bucket full for him, to be honest with you, in my opinion. And I don't think Mario Lemieux, as long as he has any type of ownership in Pittsburgh, he's not going anywhere. Sid is going to be one of these few guys who's playing his entire career in Pittsburgh. He ain't going anywhere. And if he does, man, I don't know. That's a sad day for Pittsburgh.
I think there's a good story and an intelligent move. I think Mario Lemieux is smart enough to know he's got good value. If that team still falters and it doesn't look like it's got a future, give Sid an opportunity to go win a couple more Stanley Cups before it's over. I don't think Pittsburgh Penguins sit in the position to have a long rebuild.
I agree, but
with Sidney,
I think their issue right now is their goaltending. The kids are starting to get trying to get a rhythm and everything. But I'm surprised you'd say Malcolm would stay before Sid would. I
know everybody's saying Malcolm will go before Sid.
I thought I would think so too. But hey, weirder things have happened this year in the start of the season, right? So
I used to be the life of a party. Now I'm a Debbie Downer, so I can't help it, guys.
They don't trade Crosby, and then somebody's got to pick up his contract and everything else. It's not.
You're not. Come on, Paul. You get a chance to have Sidney Crosby on your team, even at this stage in his game. I watched him. He still is magical.
Sure he is.
Good.
Pittsburgh's not letting him go. They let him go. They might as well just give up for the next 10 years. It's not going to happen.
Not 10 years. Come on.
What do you think a team's going to give you for Sidney Crosby? You think you think the Rangers will give up Lafreniere for Crosby?
In a heartbeat.
Think about it. The Leafs have lost.
I think
insane. They're going to give up a guy who's got a few years left for a guy who's got potentially 15 years there?
I'll tell you right now.
We'll agree to disagree. All of us.
The Leafs, it's been 58 years for the Leafs.
Sidney Crosby is not going to be traded to Toronto.
All right, let's see.
Both of you are insane.
But you know what? Probably smart and sane. I don't disagree that it would be a big, gutsy move, but I think they need a big, gutsy move. I think Pittsburgh is not going to put up with the losing, and they don't look good. That team doesn't look good. Watch the game last night.
Yeah, their
biggest asset is Sidney Crosby, and if you're going to go into a rebuild, Paul, but why would you rebuild with Sidney Crosby?
Lemieux already said they're not rebuilding. I think they made a bad play on their goaltending right now. Murray was not the guy to let go, although he's not looking phenomenal in Ottawa. Maybe they go and pick up a goalie, but they're not trading Crosby.
They'll go to Montreal, sadly. I love it. All right, let's get off the Sidney kick. Let's get into tonight's game. We didn't hear scores. I'm looking at Anthony's all the way from Tasmania, 6-4 Hawks. Holy macalarkey.
Yeah.
Hawks, 4-3 from Steven. Paul?
Yeah, unfortunately, Subban's playing for the Hawks. Not a Subban fan. I don't think he's a goalie that can do anything. The Hawks are playing good, but I think Columbus, despite the fact that John Tortorella is an absolute lunatic, I call Columbus to win 5-3.
I'm going to go with your brother. I like it, Steve. I think there's an upset. They have been in every game. They played well. Considering where they are, I think they're going to sneak out a win, and it's going to be a 4-3 win for your Chicago Blackhawks. Don't forget, for the Jets, my mom's favorite team. Shirley. Surely
I
you just,
got burned the last time with the Hawks, showing them some love. So I think today I'll just go with the Jackets 4-2 and watch the Hawks win, actually.
Lankinen gets the start tonight. Let's see if that works out.
Lankinen?
All right.
Who?
Lankinen.
Lankinen.
No, he's not. Subban's playing.
Oh, it's your brother. You guys have brotherly fight. All right, guys, you've been watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen, that man there with a Canada t-shirt on. Our fantastic producer. I knew you were going to pull up that little video of Cujo running in, Kapanen.
Nick Magoo.
Yeah, Ray Scampanello. He said, Gooch, can you bring it up? And Paul, you brought it up. Thank you for that. All right, guys, have a great night. Only one game tonight. I guess I'll get some sleep. Get my voice back. I am ready for tomorrow. It's going to be Gooch 1-0. Because you didn't pick the Hawks, did you, Rosie?
No, I got Columbus, but I'll be 8-0 if I get that one, which will be insane.
Al, who'd you pick?
I went with the Jackets.
Okay,
Am I
good.
No, you
keeping
said
score? Who's winning?
You said the Jackets.
Yeah, we'll make it up. All right, kids. Good night.
And I said
Yeah,
you
everyone.
be pen forever.
Let's play some hockey.